Oh my God. All right, let's see. Allow me to, get my stuff up and running. Once again, the entire app building process from scratch video. Good stuff. Good stuff. Still, still experimenting with these streaming times. I need to know what time is best for you guys. So, if you could let me know what time is best for you for me to go streaming. Pacific Standard Time, please. I don't feel like doing math and figuring out what time your time is in my time. Lazy. All right, guys. So today we're going to be going over the oh man, it's kind of hard to talk and listen to music at the same time. We're going to be going over the vapor piece of this. We're going to continue. Last week we were kind of working with the user object, I believe. What's going on, Jade? Right now is the best time. That's right. Whenever it happens, that's the best time, right? No. But hold on, I got a vapor X. Let me get everything up and running for y'all. And yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what time is best for you guys to do the streaming. Obviously, the majority of my audience is in the US, but I think the second biggest portion of my audience is in India. So it's like opposite time zones, right? So yeah, if you guys could, like, if you're watching it on the replay, let me know in the comments below what's the best time for you guys, and then I'll kind of try to lean towards that. I'm thinking about doing it on Sundays. You got the cool YouTubers doing it on Sundays. I want to be a cool YouTuber too, right? Sean Allen is doing it on Sundays. Just saw his live stream today. He won't be doing it for like 2 months. He's super worker man right now, work mode right now. But when he comes back, I'm sure he'll probably get back on his schedule some days. And then from Let's Build That App, Brian Voong is also on Sundays, so I want to be cool too. All right, so let's hey, you guys want to see my screen? You guys want to see some stuff? Let's do that. Oh yeah, there was no inception that time because I scheduled it like that. And also, if you guys have questions, just feel free to ask. I kind of didn't feel like live streaming today. Kind of felt bored with it. Because there's like so many other things that I just want to be doing right now. Like there's videos that I want to record for tutorials and stuff like that. And also I want to work on my platform. So I was kind of like, I don't want to do it, but I said I was going to do it. So I'm going to do it. So if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. That will definitely keep me entertained. I know that much. All right. So let's start looking at this. Where were we last week? Okay. And we're going to start running this bad boy right off the bat. We're going to get our rested open right here. Let's just drop this over here. Yeah. I think on that page is pretty good. Got to get the environment all set up, guys. Let's see. What else do we need? Once again, if you're not familiar with the series, let's take a look at what the app will eventually become and be released to the App Store as App from Scratch. There we are. And I think I'm going to be working in the terminal as well. So let me know if the terminal works for you guys instead of working in Xcode. We're gonna experiment with working with the terminal. All right. So just to overcap, this is kind of what the app is going to look like. We got the the onboarding screens, sign up flows. The app is generally going to be about you meeting other coders within hopefully a similar area. It's kind of going to be like meetup.com, except for just coders, So we got that home feed, we got the calendar, we got your activity, you know, messages, and then profile, right? So that's what the app is going to be. And let's get over here. Still compiling, man. Let's start getting some of this stuff set up. I'm going to want to test this API right here. Want to test this API right here. This is a post API. Make sure you keep that in mind. Post right there, bam. Very important that you do it right. We're going to go back over to our rested app. I'm going to make sure that it's on port 8080 because by default, that's what it's going to be running on for Vapor. And then we want to say the path is going to be user. So we're going to say user. Oh man, this is my song right here. You guys can't hear it because it's in my ear, and I don't want this YouTube video to get taken down or something stupid. Okay, so let's see. Essentially what we're doing right here is we're parsing the JSON from a request. So we're sending up a request, right, from rested. That's what's being passed in right here. We're parsing out the JSON, and then we're creating properties or like variable constants for each of those you know, keys in that JSON, creating a user object from it, saving that user object to Fluent, not to a real database, but to Fluent, which is to memory. And then we're returning that user object. So let's just get that up and running again so that we can make sure that, you know, when we start testing stuff out, we're back to where we were last week. So we want to spell everything right, username, and this is going to be your boy Kilo Loco. A lot of people have a hard time saying my name. I find it really amusing. Like on Xbox, when I think Xbox was probably the first thing that I had my name on, and yeah, people used to call me Kilo. Like, well, not how you say it, but okay. I guess because, you know, we're usually in Call of Duty and killing people, right? So Kilo, I could kind of see that. But lately I've been hearing Kylo. I'm like, well, you know, it's not Star Wars, guys. It's just Kilo. Like a kilogram, I guess. I don't know, guys. So avatar name is going to be image.jpg, right? All right, so let's send up this post request. As you can see, Vapor was able to get up and running. Bam, we're going to send that post request. Let's see, successful response, 200. Okay. And then pass, and then full name, and then username, and then avatar. Okay, so we're back. We're back to it. What's going on, John? Greetings from Cali, Colombia. Oh man. That's my blood. I'm quarter Colombian. So what's up, man? What's going on? All right, so let's figure this out. Okay, so we're gonna open up our user object because we were able to get it back, right? We got our user object back in our JSON. That seems to be working. So now what we're gonna kind of do, and actually I need to take a reference. Real quick, this is the benefit of being an experienced developer, and this is my personal opinion. The reason why senior developers essentially get paid more is because what employer is usually paying for is like kind of like their knowledge, right? But really, what their knowledge is just all the projects that they worked on. So if you're a senior developer, you just probably have a lot more projects that you could reference. You don't have to go to Stack Overflow as much. You just look at your own stuff and you're like, oh yeah, that's how I did that. So honestly, I think that's what it means to be a senior developer. But hey, if you don't agree, then I ain't mad at you. Ain't got nothing but love for you. Do your thing, homeboy. Boom. Okay. All right. So this initializer will eventually go away, guys. But for now, what we'll do is we'll just have a different initializer. And what we want to do, and hold on, let me double check how I did it in my other project, because I wanna make sure that I do it the right way. And I can't show you guys the other project because it has like very sensitive material in it. It has like special keys and stuff in there. And I can't show you the special keys, guys. I can't show you that. All right, so yeah, what we're gonna do. I don't know why I'm doing it with JSON. We may go back and fix this too. That's the whole entire thing about building this app from scratch, is that you guys are gonna just see me make mistakes, go back, change things, because that's what happens when you make the app. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna want to initialize this user object using JSON. Now, eventually, no, you know what? You guys are watching me. I'm gonna put out tutorials on all this stuff on why I'm gonna do it this way, but you guys are just watching me, so you guys are just gonna follow along and watch me do my thing. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna put also the drop. Now, droplet, that is. And it's also gonna throw because this is Vapor. Now, in Vapor, you have something that's called a droplet, in case you didn't know, and that's essentially the object that is, as you can see here, you create it, and then it runs the setup, and then the drop runs. Essentially, the droplet is like the container in which all your code essentially runs in Vapor, and yeah, that's like a very dramatically, like, probably incorrect summarization of it, but yeah, that's all you really need to know. We just want to have access to the droplet because the droplet essentially has access to every piece of the project. And what we're going to do later is we're going to add validators to make sure that some of the stuff that's coming in, because we're expecting like a username and password, right? Username and password to eventually come in, and then we're going to initialize the object like that. What we're going to do is we're going to validate that the username is a valid username, instead of a user being able to enter in like asterisks and dollar signs and percentages and stuff like that, just random crap. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that they're entering like valid characters, like only alphanumeric characters. So that's why we're going to want access to this droplet. So yeah, so we're going to have the drop right there. Anyway, first things first, we're going to take all the code that we had back in our routes, and we're just going to do the same mother loving thing like so right here. Now, essentially, this is what we want to do, right? And yeah, hold on. Yeah, dot get user key. Actually, we can just take this out because the keys are up here, so we could just say keys dot username. So bam, like so bam, bam, like bam. All right, so let me double check, make sure these aren't optional, because in my other code they seem to be optional. I'm not really sure why. Oh well. Yeah, oh well. Oh, okay, that's what it is. So either we can, let me see. I actually have to write it out because I'm not even sure why I did it like that in my production code. Throw abort dot bad request. That shouldn't even work because it's not an optional, right? Or does it work? Seems to work, so we can do it. Okay, so I know why I wanted it to be like this while we wanted to do a guard. Just not sure how it's working. Anyways, what we want to do is, let me isolate this so that you guys can see it clearly. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we could get the username and that it is a string, and that we're getting it from the JSON under the key username, right? Or else, if that does not work, what we want to do is we want to throw a bad request. We want to send like a 400 error, right? But we don't want to just a generic error because that's not helpful. And if we handle all of our errors like very well in the back end, what we can do is we can kind of eliminate some of the error handling on the front end, which essentially would be duplicated throughout all of our clients. So let's say we had the iOS client, we would have to do a lot of error handling. I mean, we're still going to do error handling on the iOS client, right? And we're going to do all that stuff. And we're going to do error handling. Like if there was a Android version of the app, we would have to do error handling on the Android version of the app. And when we use this on a website, we would have to do on the website. So we don't want to do all of that. We want, if we can, what we want to do is we want to have it all done right here in the back end to help eliminate the amount of cases that have to be handled on the front end, which essentially have to be duplicated throughout the code on each client side. Now I see some of your questions over here. Sorry, I had it turned off while I was looking at. I had the questions over here turned off. I see you're using Rested. Have you tried Postman? I do use Postman. I just don't know the easiest way of doing JSON requests, which Rested has it very easy. JSON encode it right there, bam. Form encode it, JSON encode it. I'm sure that Postman's a very powerful tool. I just don't know how to use it with JSON encoded requests. So yes, Postman is great though. What's going on, Reed? I bought the design and code book from the giveaway, and damn, you bought that book from the giveaway, and damn, my apps are going to be, yeah, they're going to be hella sexy, boy. Hella sexy. That's what they're going to be. Okay, and then a quarter Colombian. What's the other 3/4? So I'm half black. And in that half black, I'm technically like black Colombian. You know, when them slaves was running up to Colombia and stuff. But I'm half black, quarter Mexican, quarter Colombian. That's what it really is, though. Anyway, going back over to the code. So what's going on right here is we don't want to have just bad request. What we want to do is we want to initialize an abort object. We want to initialize an abort object and just say, we want to initialize it like this. We want to pass in bad request like this, right? Because that will still give us, I think it's, what is it? Like a 4, I want to say it's like a 400 error. It might be 400 or 401. I forgot what it was. We could look at it in a bit, but we want to do bad request. And then we want to say reason, not reason. Damn, Kyle. Reason like that. And then what the reason takes is a string. So with the string, we can actually say, oh, this is an invalid username, right? Username. Please enter a valid username to continue. Like something very generic and sounds like a machine said it, so like if a machine said it, then it's probably like professional, right? Because that's what business is. It sounds like a heartless machine. Anyway, so if we have a bad username, like they start putting asterisks and stuff like that, or it's just missing username in our code for whatever reason, then we'll get this error, and we'll take a look at that in a bit. But let's get through these other ones because we want to do the same exact thing to all these other ones. So what we're gonna do is, Kyle's a lazy type of guy, and what he does is, he does this stuff all the time. Now you got to be very, very careful when you copy and paste, because it's an extremely dangerous practice, and I would not recommend it to anybody watching this stream. It's like YOLO up in here. So yeah. All right, and what we want to do is we just want to rename these, right? Password and full name, right? And then avatar name. That will immediately get rid of the errors. Get rid of this. Gonna want to change the keys as well. So password like so, full name like so, and then avatar name like so. And then lastly, what we want to do, and each of these are strings, so far so good. And lastly, all we want to do is we just want to say, okay, username, password, we want to say it's an invalid password, right? Enter a valid password to continue. Invalid full name. Enter a valid full name to continue. Invalid avatar name. Enter a valid avatar name. Right, and we're actually going to change this because that would not make sense to a user. So actually, this needs to be spelled properly because you don't want to know my parameter, our property names, right? And what this would be is this should never actually pop up. The avatar name. A user should actually never see this because they should not know anything about. So what we'll say is there was a problem with the image. Please try again. Right? All right. Because yeah, a user wouldn't know what an avatar name is, right? They would just be trying to upload their picture when they're trying to sign up or something like that. Anyway, back to your questions. You should make a Discord for your viewers. Reed, I'm not going to go with Discord. I love Slack too damn much to go with Discord. I will be making a Slack for you guys as soon as I release the platform app, because that's like my biggest thing. Like I actually had and still technically have a Slack room. It's under Applied Swift, but I didn't know how to do the automatically sending you a request so that you can join the Slack room when I set it up. And back then I didn't really know any backend development, so I couldn't build like an API that just handles that stuff for me. Well, now I know backend development. I mean, I'm not like a pro. I'm just saying like I know how to do some stuff in it, and you know, do that stuff now. So it will be a Slack room. It's funny that you bring it up because I actually have been thinking about. I was actually literally thinking about that this morning. But yeah, it will be a Slack room because I love Slack, and it's going to be for my silver and gold star members when I release the platform. I think it'd be really cool, be a really cool workspace, and would separate you from the other iOS YouTubers because none of them have one on their channels. Well, I don't think that's entirely true. I know for sure Sean Allen has one. He has a Slack for his members. I thought Brian, I don't know if Brian has one. And I think Chris might have one. Coding with Chris might have one. I'm not sure, but I know for sure. RIP, I don't know how to use Slack. Slack is the easiest thing in the world. Oh, Discord, nah, I can't. I actually don't even like Discord. Okay, so what we're gonna do is now we have a new initializer on a user object, right? And what we want to see is can we like streamline this? Can we make it look sexy? Can we make it look sexy? And my grandma's here. I can hear that she's here. I want to go say hi to her, but I'm coding, so gotta show you guys. What it do up in here. All right, so we're gonna create a user object like this. So now user, we're gonna initialize it with JSON, and we have that JSON right here. So just go and pass that bad boy all up in there. The drop, as you can see, we are actually inside the droplet when we're doing this setup. So all we have to do is say self, because we're bosses, and that's just how we roll. So now if we're able to create this user, then theoretically what we should be able to do is save it just like we did before, and we should be able to get back that same JSON. Now, oh, this throws, so we have to mark it with try. We're already in that throws. Yeah, Reed, learn Slack. I think honestly, it is meant for like coders. Like, I don't know, man. I see so many Slacks out there. Like, it doesn't make sense to get on Discord. Discord is actually geared towards gamers. And they have like the whole voice thing, but Slack is, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I just enjoy Slack so much more. I was introduced to Discord first, and then I was introduced to Slack, and I just enjoy Slack. I can't really explain it. All right, guys. So, wish there was is there a clear option? Huh. That's weird. All right. Well, what we want to make sure is that we have a different date time. So it was at 28. We want to make sure it's at 46. 46. Bam. 46. Got that 200. And then all this good stuff. All right. So back to what I was saying. Okay, let's say that so we're expecting this JSON to come in like this, right? Or no, well, that's how we're sending it out. But we're expecting JSON, we're expecting the request to come in and have it spelled exactly how our key is spelled, which is spelled properly if we go over here. So we're expecting our request to have something called username spelled just like that. So if we change something and the username is spelled incorrectly, what will happen is we should get an error. Now, if I do this, if I say username without an E and I press enter, make sure that it's all updated in the JSON that's being sent, and we say send, now it was a 400 error. So 400 bad request, right? And what you can see is right here in the reason, this is an invalid username. Please enter a valid username to continue. So that's something that we could pop up in a UI alert controller or something like that, right? And the debug reason is the exact same. So we'll be able to take that error and present that error when we have it in our iOS app, which is amazing. And it would do the same thing with all of these, right? If I spelled avatar name wrong, then it would do it. If I spelled the password wrong, it would do it. So that's what I learned, and that's what I decided to do, because I think having descriptive errors, taking your time to actually do descriptive errors, is a very beneficial thing to like the app in its entirety. Damn, look at Kyle with them syllables dough. All right, guys. So one thing that does what I don't like is this whole entire look at how we're repeating ourselves, and it even looks terrible, because look at how it goes to the next line, and it's all dirty and stanky, and it's like not sexy like at all, guys. Look at that code smell. Can you say code smell? Look at that. That's just ridiculous. You should not be having that. So what I like to do, and something that you guys should definitely take advantage of, is building. What you want to do is you want to build the language towards that app as well. So what I mean by that is like, okay, so we're developing features for the app. We're building the app, but we can also, Swift is a language that has extensions, and extensions allow you to build up and extend any piece of code or functionality. So what we're going to do, we're in the models, and we'll clean up the file structure later and do all the nice stuff. But I'm just going to make a new Swift file. And what I want to do is I want to extend the abort object, extension, abort model, so that what I could do is I can just say, instead of saying, oh, I have to say, this entire sentence, and then the only thing that's different is these two things, the username, right, or the password, and they're spelled exactly the same in both spots. I just want to say abort, and then I want to just say, like it's invalid, and then we'll say whatever field is invalid. So let's do that. So what we're going to do, we're going to just say, well, first we have to import, you could either import Vapor or you could import HTTP. I'm going to just do HTTP just so that's a little bit different. HTTP is part of Vapor by default anyways. So that's why it would work, but this piece is actually in the HTTP functionality, I think. Anyway, what we want is that we want a static function because we want to be able to call it on just, we want to say abort dot invalid, and then we want to say which field is invalid. So we'll say it's going to be a function, and we're going to call it invalid, and then we're going to say what field is invalid. So we'll do an underscore so that it doesn't show the actual argument's name when we're calling it. And we'll say invalid field. And this will be of type string because we want to just say like username or invalid password or something like that. And what it's going to do is it's going to return an abort object so that we can just throw it, because an abort object is something that can be thrown as an error, and Vapor handles those abort objects properly for us. So we're going to just say reason is going to be equal to our sentence that's back over here in the user. And we'll say this entire sentence, right? We're going to copy it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to paste it. And then instead of saying username, we'll just say, hey, replace that with invalid field. Bam. Like a sauce boss. Bam. Like so. Right there. Bam. And then we want to do the same thing right here. Bam. So now, so now what we want to do is we want to return this abort object, and we're going to do that by actually creating it and saying return abort, and it's going to be essentially what we did in our user controller. We're going to say bad request, and we're not getting any code highlighting because when you make a new file in Vapor, it doesn't all work together, and you actually have to run Vapor code. So we'll do that in a bit, but first we're going to just run it. So the reason will just be the reason that we have right here. We go back over, and now instead of throwing it like this, what we're going to say abort, we're going to say abort dot invalid, and as you can see, it hasn't saved yet, so it's not working. Invalid, and we'll just say invalid username, like so. And we're just going to do that for each of these. So dot invalid, invalid, what is this, password? And then abort dot invalid, and we're going to say full name, like so. So now look at one-liners, boy. One-liners all up in it. Yeah, and I got a little baby 13-inch, so what if it's on the 13-inch, you did it right, like you did something right. Okay. Okay. Let me get back to read while this is building. Oh, this didn't work. What's going on with this? Throw invalid. This should have worked. Invalid. Let me see. Invalid. Did I spell it right? We're doing extension on abort, and spelt it right. Invalid field returns an abort object. You know what? You can't always trust it to do the right thing. So let's do a Vapor Xcode to make sure that everything works again. So we'll do Vapor Xcode. Come on, Kyle. There we go. All right, while that runs, I got to get back to Reed. Reed was asking some questions. So let's see. I was talking about Discord. This gives Slack. Does Slack have a desktop application? Not only does it have a desktop application, it has a mobile application, which is phenomenal. Actually, Slack is one of the four, what is it called? one of the 4 apps that I have in the bottom of my at the bottom of my screen on my phone. Like, you know how you only get 4 in that little dock at the bottom? Yeah, Slack is one of those. That's how often I use my Slack, and that's why I want to have a Slack as opposed to a Discord, because I use Slack for work. Okay, so as you can see, this worked. We're going to do another rested request. Let me see. And right now it's spelled correctly. Yeah, it's spelled correctly. So if we do that, we get a 200, right? But if we misspell name, right, like that, if we misspell it, we should get a 400 error. Bam, bad request. And then this is an invalid full name. Please enter a valid full name to continue. Right? Very, you know, sounds very mechanical, but hey, that's what professionals do, is they make it sound terrible. So yeah, this is an example of building, like, I mean, this isn't really the language per se. This is like the framework. So we're building the framework towards the app, right? So like the framework is coming closer to what our app needs it to be, as opposed to me just making like a helper class. It's an approach that I've been taking for like the past couple of months. All right. So next. All right. So we have a user object. Next, I want to make sure that let's see. We want to make sure that we're not getting, well, do we ever want to get that far yet? Nah, I don't think we do. Not yet. I think the next thing that we should probably do is start setting up the controllers. Anybody out there that has a preference, we could either start working on the controllers, or we can start doing the validation of these fields. Let me know what your guys' preference is. For right now, I'm going to take a couple questions. Damani, hey man, we've been talking quite a bit. Sup, Kyle, glad I could finally catch you, the live one. Yeah, man. And then just messing around in Slack. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So validation, there it is. Bam. With the exclamation points, like I don't have a damn choice. Yes, Jonathan. Yes, sir. Okay. Well then let's let's do validation, man, because validation is it's a bit different. Let me just figure out where I put my validation files, because I don't remember how to do all this stuff from the top of my head. Still learning, guys. I'm not a professional at backend development yet, but yeah. So what I did was, in my production app, was I put it in a new folder for services. You know me with my services, and we're just going to do a new group, and this is going to be services. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a new field, or a new file. New field, stupid cow. What's wrong with you? It's going to be a Swift. Can't 20 minutes. All right. As you can see, I have to go say hi to my grandma, but we're gonna push through, and then I'll go out there. All right. So field validation. So what we want to do, let me talk about it before we get into it. So what we want to do is, first of all, we want to just make sure, what the hell was that? First thing that we want to do is we just want to make sure that the username, password, and the full name are at least a certain length. Same thing with the avatar name. We want to at least make sure that they're a certain length, and also that they don't exceed a certain length, right? Like, you don't want to have a 500 character username. That's just stupid, guys. That's just stupid. Also, you don't want to have like a 2-character username, right? Like AB. You don't want that. You want to have at least probably like 3 characters. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up this, and after we set up the validation, we're going to be done, because I'm like, I kind of, well, maybe, depending on how long it takes, I might have a little bit more time for some other validation, but yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up something called a I'm going to call it a field length validation. And what I want to do is I just want to make sure that each field has conforms to a certain length. It has to be at least this long and can't be any shorter than this. You know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean, because yeah, I'm moving forward. All right, so call a new file, Swift file, and what we'll do is we'll call it field length validation. Oh, you know what is I can't even remember if validation is even part of it. I think it is, but I have to double check. Hold on, guys, because we have to double check that validation is actually part of the Vapor project, and I don't think it is. Yeah, it's not even part of it, so we actually have to do some stuff. Okay, so let me show you guys how to get into this validation stuff. All right, we gonna be learning. We gonna be learning today. FYI, if you aren't already, follow me at Twitter. That's the best place to just talk to me. Comments get kind of hard to follow when like I'll see your first comment, but if you try to reply to that comment, then YouTube sucks at giving you the ability to handle talking to that person that replied to a comment that you replied to. So Twitter is definitely the best place to talk to me. Just keep that in mind. All right. So for validation, or for Vapor in general, what you want to do whenever you're confused, don't ask. You never just ask somebody how to do something, right? You don't do that. You don't just ask somebody, hey, how do you do this? Well, first you got to go out there and you have to try to learn it yourself. Okay. It's going to make you a better developer if you use that, because you want to know how to become a senior programmer? You get really good at Googling and Stack Overflow, and then you also build up a bunch of projects that you can look back on, and then you just learn how to do all this crazy stuff. That's how you become a good senior developer. All right. So what you want to do is you always want to go to the docs, because Vapor has some of the best documentation that you'll ever find in the world. Google is up there with their Firebase, is pretty good stuff, but yeah. And then after that, you can go to the community. Oh, going back to what you said, Reed, there's an entire community, an entire community on Slack that's dedicated to Vapor. So if you ever, hold on, I'm gonna open it for you guys. And this is by far the best community. I've never seen a community like this. Not even a platform that you pay for. I don't think you get it this good. You go to the Vapor community. Look, I got all this stuff all these little channels that I go to. You go to the Vapor community and they will help you out. But first, you have to try it yourself. Don't be one of those people that just always ask for help without trying something. All right, getting back to the validation. So it'll tell you exactly how to do it, and you can't follow. Vapor is in a weird spot right now. I know that I just said they have the best documentation. At the moment, some of their stuff is still in Vapor 1, so you'll see stuff where the P is capitalized, which no longer then it will say major version like this. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you just want to use the GitHub link, right? So you want to just use that. So what we'll do is we have to go over to our package. And in order to add something in here, I just like to copy the same exact style that Vapor has already given to us. So let's just paste that GitHub URL right there just so that we can use it after we copy this. So oddly enough, there's a comma at the end, and this is the last object in the array. I don't understand that, but whatever. I keep it exactly how I see it. I copy it and I paste it. Don't make things harder than they have to be. You don't always have to understand everything. You know, that's the way that I kind of like. If there's something that I'm just really curious about, you know, I'll go out and I'll learn it. But overall, just copy and paste sometimes. That's all you really need to do. Now, I also don't know what version it is. So let's go back over here, and it just says major version 1. So I'm gonna just say 1. I'm gonna just say 100. I don't know. I don't know if there's a if I would have put a 2 there, if there would have been something. I don't really care. All I want to do is just get this into my project and have it work. And this is how I know to get it working. Okay, so once you have it in here, another thing about Vapor 2 is that you also have to include it in the targets right here. Or hold on. The targets. No. The dependency. Like, so this is the target, but the dependencies right here. So what we'll do is we have to put in like the name of the framework. So even though it says validation and provider like this, that's not the way that you put it in. You have to actually put it in the way that it shows in the code. I haven't really found. Yeah, see, it says import. So it would be whatever you're importing. So this is what you actually want to use. And it took me a while to learn some of this stuff, guys. It took so much trial and error and looking at other people's projects on GitHub and stuff like that to figure all this stuff out. But I mean, sometimes you just gotta work through it, figure it out yourself. Okay, so now that we have it in there in our package, what we have to do is we have to do vapor build. Vapor build. And that's going to take a little while. And while I'm waiting, I'll just get back to your guys' comments if there are any. Dang, I don't have Twitter. I guess I should make one. Yeah, you should definitely. I'll show you the Twitter right now, but you should definitely make one. All right, people, start following on Twitter ASAP. Yeah. Okay, so what we want to do, I'm going to show you on Twitter. I'm going to show you guys because Twitter is an amazing place to reach out. Look at Jared Davidson. Bam. You guys know Jared. If you guys know about me, you guys know about Jared, right? Look at what my Twitter feed looks like. Ish. He's a developer out here that he's out in the IE Inland Empire of Southern California. Really cool guy. He runs meetups. Don't know this person. That's just one of my friends. But there's like several developers on here, and they're just sharing some good content on here, guys. And it's awesome because what you could do is you could just reach out to people. Like if I go to my messages, I don't know how long I'll keep my messages open. I don't know how many people would appreciate that. But like, look at Sebastian. Sebastian reached out to me, asked me a question on how to fix something. Dej. She reached out to me, asked me something. I sent out something to him. This is where we were talking about. This is how we did the giveaway for you guys on Twitter. Jared reached out to all of us on Twitter, and we just started talking, and yeah, like all that stuff. So make sure you guys get on Twitter. It's an amazing platform for developers. Maybe not so much everybody else, but definitely for developers. Like it's one of the best things. And I didn't even like I like Twitter. Like I got on Twitter way back when it like first started out. Like probably like a year or two after it came out, before it was like even the news anchors had it, right? This is the vapor community, all kinds of crazy stuff in here. People always helping. It's crazy, guys. A lot of stuff going down in there. But yeah, make sure you get on Twitter. Let's see how long is it done yet? See, some of the stuff with vapor, you just kind of have to wait it out. It takes a little while. Yeah, so we'll just do the field validation. I'm gonna go over like some of the basics of the field validation, and then that will just wrap it up. We're gonna do the field validation just to make sure that there's certain lengths on the names, and then after that, we're just gonna that will wrap up our session today. Xcode vapor Xcode -y like so. Oh, and I said that we were gonna be using this, and we didn't even use that. Yeah, that's all right. I'll use it in the videos. Also, be on the lookout, guys. I plan on putting out a vlog. What the hell? Close that. Ain't nobody supposed to be looking at my stuff. Plan on putting out a vlog this week, a devlog. and then also going to be putting out series of content, like they're going to be grouped together. So if you aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because a lot of good stuff coming to you in 2018. Lots of good stuff. All right, so going back over to the field validation area. Well, first of all, what we want to do is we want to just run it, make sure that nothing broke, make sure that we imported or we added everything properly. Our package isn't all jacked up now, and if it runs, then we should be good. All right, build succeeded, no runtime errors, we're good. All right, so what we want to do is we want to import validation. So and then on here it's a class, and they have in the validation, let me try to find it for you guys. In the dependency validation, they have something called validatable. Let me see if I can find it. Validatable, right? So, I mean, you guys can take a look at this if you want or whatever. I already looked at it. Anyway, what we want to do is we want to subclass off of that validatable. So we're going to say class field validation. Field length validation. And this is going to be of type validatable, right? So that gives us some of the functionality that's built in for validating and stuff like that. And what we want to do is we want to initialize this field validation object. Okay, let me slow down. The first thing that we want to do with this field validation is we want to have a function that's going to say, is it valid or not? It's going to return a Boolean. It's going to say, hey, this whatever string that we're passing in is a valid string. And let's do that first. So we'll say func is valid. And then we're going to just say we don't want to have an argument when we're calling it, and we'll just say string. The value is going to be of type string, and it will return a Boolean. So this one is not going to throw, actually. If for whatever reason it can't do anything that's going to throw, then we're just going to return false. So what we want to do is we want to put a do catch, and then if for whatever reason it has an error, we just want to return false, right? Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to try, and we're going to take our value, which is going to be of type string. We're going to say value, and we want to say validated, and as you can see, it gives you the option. So we want to do validated by, both of them are essentially like the same. We're going to technically have a validation list essentially. What we want to do is we want to say what we want to check is the field length. So we want to check the count, how many letters there are in this string in the value that we're going to pass in here, and we want to see, is it valid or not? And the validation, the validatable, has that logic in the validated function. So we'll just say count. This is an object that they made, and we're going to say the minimum count .min is going to be equal to, let's just say 3, right? And let's say, and the count, because we want to have a maximum, right? Count .max, and then the input .count is going to be, let's say 30 characters seems like a reasonable length for like a full name or something like that, right? So now if we are able to try this and it is valid, what we're going to do is we're just going to say, yeah, because if it's not valid, if it's less than 3, what it's going to do is this try is going to fail, and then it'll just return false. So if it gets that far, then we'll just return true, right? But I don't like to have just random numbers like this and not have it be flexible, guys. So like right now, it would work. It would work for what we're trying to do. But a better way is to make it a little bit more dynamic and make it, adjustable. So maybe in one area, like, yeah, we only want 3, but what if we wanted it in the bio, right? Well, then we would want the bio to be 500 characters or something like that. And we don't want to create a whole nother thing. So what we want to do is we'll just create an initializer that says, okay, well, init with a minimum value, and that's going to be of an integer, and then a maximum value, and that's also going to be an integer. And what we'll do is we'll also have these private properties on it of the minimum length and the maximum length. So minimum length, and that's going to be of type integer. And then we're going to have a private let maximum length. I'm just saying private just so that, you can't access them from the outside. There's no reason for you. Well, I mean, maybe, but I don't know. We're going to keep it private until we actually need to change it to internal. So then we just say minimum length is equal to min, and maximum length is equal to max, right? Right. Now, there's one last thing that I really like to do, and that's to have it have default values so that we actually don't have to, we don't want to initialize it with 3 and 30 every time, right? That would be kind of annoying. So what we'll do is we'll actually say, we'll give it a default value of 3, and the max will have a default value of 30. This way, we don't always have to initialize it this way. We could just do a regular initializer. It will pass in those values for us. And then if we want to edit, maybe we just want to edit the max, then we could just do the max. Or if we just want to edit the min, we could just do the min. Or we could do both. And then we'll just replace these with maximum value, maximum length, and minimum length. Minimum length, like so. Right? Right. All right. So what we do is now what we're going to do, where's our user object? Let's back up here. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to validate each one of those fields. We want to make sure that each of them complies to the field length validator. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create it up here. And we'll say let field, just call it field validator because we're actually going to change this later. Field validator equals field length validator. And we could initialize it with a minimum and a maximum, but we already set it to 3 and 30. So why even do that? So we have our field length validator. And now all we have to do is, well, I'm going to change the styling of this. But first we're going to put this on a new line. We'll put the else on a new line. And this kind of just helps keep everything look pretty clean. So now we have the username, right? At this point, we'll have the username. So then we'll just say comma. And we just want to make sure that the username is valid. So we'll say username dot is valid. Or not username, field length validator, field validator dot is valid, and that's when we pass in our username, our username. like so. So what we can do is we can test that out. And I'm going to just do it on this one first, and then we're just going to copy and paste it on the other ones. Now let's see if this will work, or if I have to do another Vapor Xcode, because sometimes Vapor make you do that stuff. Not really sure why. Run failed. So let's go ahead and do that Vapor Xcode, because Vapor no like so Vapor Xcode.y. Gonna rebuild our Xcode project. Oh, let's do it in the terminal this time. Let's see. Yeah. So we'll do Vapor build, Vapor run. No, we don't need to do. Do we need to do Vapor? We might have to do Vapor build. You guys want to see it done in the You guys want to see it done in the terminal? We can do it in the terminal. Let's do Vapor build. And we'll do Vapor run, and we could see if it works in the terminal. Yeah, so this should work though. Unless I spelled something wrong. Let's see if it turns green now. I don't know what I did wrong. Field length validator. Oh, did I call it validation? Field length validation? That's what it probably was, validation. That's what it was. Field length validation. Yeah, that's it. Field validation. And we'll just change this to validation. Just so that it matches dation. All right, so let's go ahead and try it. Yeah, I know I messed up. My bad. My bad, man. Damn. So we're gonna do Vapor build. That's gonna put the project all together nice and neat and whatnot. And then what we'll do is we'll do Vapor run, and we should be able to test out our rested app. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna first we're gonna just do it as Kilo Loco. And then after that, I'm just going to turn it into KI, or actually, let's do it like this, because the minimum length is KIL, or 3, right? So we'll do KIL, which means that we should get a 200 back. And then what we'll do is we'll do KI, and we'll get a 400 back because it's too short. All right, Vapor, and then we'll do we'll clean it up, and we'll do Vapor run. We could have just pressed play in Xcode, but just wanted to see what would happen if I did it from the terminal. Is it working? Is it going? Oh, you know what? That's actually bad, because I wasn't supposed to do that. Because it's still running over here. That might. Oh no. Oh, let's see. Oh, maybe it should have worked. Vapor run. Doesn't look like it's working. Might just be taking a while. Yeah, this is fine. Oh, there it goes. See, look at this. What it looks like when you do Vapor run in the terminal. So we get all the same logs that we would normally get, like right here, but it's like all color coded and stuff. Okay, so now and it logs every time that you hit an endpoint. So if we do our rested L, what did I do? Oh, it's something still spelled wrong. What is spelled wrong? Invalid full name. Full name. Oh, there it is. See? See how that came in handy? Look at that. It's already helping us. Isn't that awesome, guys? All right, so now we got a 200 KIL, right? Username. If we do KI, if we just do KI, we're going to get a problem because our validator, and it's just going to say, invalid username. So now if we do K, see? Look at this is an invalid username. Bam. And it has nothing to do. So like if I did KIL again, watch, it has nothing to do with having repeat data. See, back to 200. Now, if I make it like longer than 30, right? If I make it longer than 30, we also get a bad error. So that's pretty good. And we could break it down. We could even make it even more like, reason length. We could do that if you wanted to do that. But I think invalid username is just good enough. Somebody would probably try to do something else. I mean, that's what I would do. But then again, I'm super technical, so who knows? And then also, this is what the logs look like. See? Pretty cool stuff, man. Pretty cool stuff. So let's just go ahead and add that to each of our properties that we have in here. I'm just going to add the little validator in there. And then that will wrap up our session for today. Any last questions before we go offline, guys? This is really cool to watch. Thanks, Damani. I'm glad that you're liking it because it's just like I said today, I would have preferred to have done some other stuff, work on some other stuff, and it's still all for you guys. Like, the videos and the content that I plan on putting out. But I just didn't feel like doing this. So I'm glad that it helps you guys because it really makes me like want to get on here and like stay committed to giving you guys what you want, especially if it's helping you learn. Like, even if you don't fully understand, if I'm like talking about something and you're like, whoa, that like blew my head off. Oh my God, I have no idea what you're even talking about, Kyle. And it's like, that's okay. That's okay to feel like that because that's what happened when I was first starting out and I went to a Swift meetup. I got my head blown off. It got blown all the way off, guys. And they were just talking about like optional chaining and stuff like that. And optional unwrapping and things like that. And I was like, I don't understand anything. And I just felt so bad on the drive home. But like later on, I realized, hey, you gotta, if as long as you're just exposed to it, what will happen is it'll stick around in the back of your mind, and your subconscious will eventually figure it out. Like one day, like 2 years down the road, and it's like, oh, that's what it was. And that's what happens to me all the time. Sometimes I'll just be driving, and then like something in my brain will just click, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's how that works. Yeah, like I'll go out to lunch and I'm like thinking about a problem, and I'm thinking about it, and then bam, just all of a sudden I know how to solve the problem. Damani, you also explained everything clearly. I don't have any questions. May need to watch again to have it cement, though. Actually, you're not going to have this cemented by watching it, to be honest. I don't even have all this stuff cemented. I'm like looking at my production project to remember all the stuff that I'm doing. I mean, it would definitely help if I wasn't talking, because I'm like trying to, not just sit here quietly and just do my work. But I'm actually trying to kind of be at least a little bit entertaining or something. But yeah. So I just it's hard to talk and then teach and then code like all at once. It's like a lot of multitasking, and everybody says that you can't multitask. You can't really multitask. It's just you're doing several things all at once in a very inefficient manner. That's what they say. That's what the professionals say. Anyway, that was the live stream. We hit our hour. We did our hour. We did our time. And I plan on putting out these things every week. I'm hoping a lot that by next week, the camera quality will be a lot better. Right now, I've just been spending like all my money on stuff. Like I just got a Gorilla Pod for a camera. Like I got you guys, like if you guys saw the last video I put out, the production quality looked a little bit better. I'm looking into kind of rebranding and stuff like that. The thumbnails look different. I bought this off of Amazon, a Canon, nice little camera. Like the lens comes off and everything, so it's like all professional and stuff. Look at that. So that's pretty cool. I'm really excited. So I'm buying all kinds of crazy stuff for you guys to get like way better content. And I think it's going to be this week that it starts. After I finish this live stream, I'm going to go hang out and say hi to my grandma. I haven't seen her in a couple days, or like in a couple weeks or months maybe. So I want to go say hi to her. But after that, I think I'm going to probably be recording some of the video content that I plan, the tutorials that I'm going to be putting out this week. We're going to be starting out going back to the basics, because I find that a lot of these very basic concepts still aren't grasped by some of the more like even intermediate or maybe even advanced developers. So I know for sure that a beginner definitely will not have a full grasp on some of these concepts. Like this week I'm going to be starting on protocols, but I'm going to start on protocols, and it's going to be like a series of videos because I'm trying to make my videos a lot more condensed, shorter format. You're going to see a lot more of me explaining. And then when I type, because I'm like a slow typer and I make a lot of mistakes, you'll see like that part being sped up. So you might have seen some of that, like a change in the way that I present my content in my last video. That was talking about what was it, class and static members. So that's kind of the direction that I'm going. I want to get you guys more better stuff. I want to get my once I have the platform out, that's like the biggest thing that keeps bothering me. I want to get that out, but there's like I would rather give you guys content. I would rather give you guys free content and me lag on giving you guys like the paid content, which, I mean, if you guys have questions about something, I can always help you. The only thing that I really charge for like mentoring is if you want me to like look at your project. That's like when I start charging. But like if you have a question, especially on Twitter, that's why I say go on Twitter, because people ask me questions about their projects all the time, and I always try to respond like with how I would approach it, what video I might have put out that might help you. And then, you know, something that like, because I mean, a lot of people just ask me stuff that you could just find on Stack Overflow, and it's fine. But like, you know, check Stack Overflow first, because that's what I'm doing when you ask me. Unless I know from the top of my head, that's what I do. Like if I don't know something, I just go check on Stack Overflow, look it up, try to explain it to you in like a short little tweet or whatever, and then I give you the answer, and then I also link you back to the Stack Overflow thing. But yeah, back to what I was saying, like the content that I'm trying to put out. So I'm trying to make it so that we're going to have all the Swift basics, like, you know, that Swift book that Apple put out where it has all that stuff and all the documentation. I plan on essentially going through that entire book and then showing you guys how everything works in Swift. And it would be great because I don't even know how everything works in Swift. So it'll be a learning experience. It's kind of like how Sean Allen's doing his advanced Swift, which is great. And I eventually kind of want to get to that level of showing you guys like some of the advanced techniques, but a lot of people will be like, oh, well, I didn't understand this, or I don't understand that. And when I talk to some other coding friends, like they don't understand some of these basic things. And maybe I don't understand some of these basic things, but it's like everybody should know that. And there's just no content out on it because that's not what's hot. It's not like, oh, that's not like a Firebase video, so I don't want to watch it. Like, oh, like I need to know how to use Firebase today, or I need to know how to use Core Data today. You know, that's like the stuff that is always requested, and the basics aren't usually asked for. So I'm going to be putting out a weekly thing on that. So maybe like let's say like every Thursday or something like that. Every Thursday will be like Swift basics, and then like every Tuesday will be like some other series, like me going over like Vapor, or me going over like Firebase, or like Moya, or like something like that's like a framework that you guys have questions about. So a lot of good stuff coming. So once again, if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you subscribe. I'm trying to step up everything. Been wasting a lot of money on a lot of money on this stuff. So yeah, and then also I'm going to be doing a vlog, a dev vlog, talking about developer related topics as well. And I think you guys will have the first one out this week. So I'm planning on doing my recording on Wednesdays, so you guys will probably get that on Thursdays, actually, depending on how long editing takes. But yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna go say hi to my grandma. You guys have a great rest of the weekend, and thanks for stopping by. Yeah, and above all else, keep coding passionately. All right, later, guys. It's time to sign out.